In 2003, one of the greatest K-pop groups of all time debuted. Then almost all their members left. Hello everyone, I'm Sean at Sepultura Prod. I'm an audio engineer, and today I'm going to take you through the wild career of SM Entertainment K-pop stalwarts TVXQ. I'll explain why they're so good, including their best songs, their scandals, and how they are so successful 20 years on. The members trained for a couple years before debuting under SM Entertainment as a 5-member group with Jaejung, Yuchun, Junsu, Yunho, and Changmin in 2003 with Hug. It's a safe bet of a debut. It recalls the sounds of HOT and GOD. I was pleasantly surprised by how different it sounded to their label mate Shinhwa. This track's R&B beat, gospel choir backing vocals make it feel really late 90s, kind of 2000s K-pop. They followed this up with Triangle though, a much better track. The vocals are so powerful, even with their early 2000s production. The strings are cool, they sound kind of synthy and artificial, maybe less compression or reverb would have helped give them a more realistic feel. The elements of this track, such as the somewhat abrupt style change in the bridge, and those rock guitar elements fused with the hip-hop R&B kind of beats, they're still a part of that SM sound. They can be heard in EXO and NCT songs. And then we have Rising Sun. Really feels like Triangle 2.0. The rock guitar, strings, R&B type beat. This one sounds slightly more industrial in the mix, which is really cool. For context, we need to keep in mind that nu metal was the biggest genre in the world at the time. Bands like Limp Bizkit, Linkin Park, one-hit wonders like Crazy Town's Butterfly, huge. Oh, once again, awesome vocal performance. This kind of melody and beat, it would be echoed in SHINee's Rin Ding Dong. The track is compressed to death though. Its release was in 2006, so I'm not overly surprised. It's a shift to a more R&B hip-hop instrumentation and performance compared with their Triangle kind of rock sound. A lot more rapping in this one. Not really my thing. I prefer Triangle, but it's alright. Or it's not bad. They would also have a fan song at this time called Balloons. TVXQ sort of did these songs for live. Fun, they're catchy, it's an upbeat pop song. Definite J-pop influence on this one as well. Think SMAP or Cartoon or Arashi. It's got disco beats, strings, harmonies. TVXQ. They were basically popular from the get-go with these songs. Triangle, Rising Sun, and O were all best-selling albums in their month of release. They sold hundreds of thousands of copies. Not that surprising, considering SM Entertainment were possibly the biggest entertainment company at the time. And they'd seen great success with HOT, Shinhwa, SES. It means there was buzz around what they would do next, and even fans loyal to the brand rather than their specific artists. This isn't to take away from the songs, they're very well made, and the performances are excellent. But although standing on the shoulders of SM giants certainly helped TVXQ achieve success, there was one song that made them the kings of K-pop. For that, hit that like button and subscribe for more K-pop analysis. What a moment in K-pop. Driving beat, dynamic, perfect vocal performance, harmonies that have been imitated time and time again. The hook is an earworm. The synth is abrasive, present, it's not overwhelming. I will say the vocals are a touch overproduced, a touch too affected. Considering how amazing the vocals are, I would have given them more space to breathe and let the performance shine. It was released in 2008, so we see the guitars disappear, replaced by fairly dancey R&B synths like Britney Spears, Justin Timberlake, maybe even some EDM influence like Eric Prydz, Benny Benassi was big at the time. 2008 would bring bad news for TVXQ. Firstly, Mirotic's lyric, "I Got You Under My Skin," the hook of the song, it was deemed too sexual by the Korean Commission of Youth Protection. So the album was labelled with stickers saying restricted to people over 19 years old. Performances of the song would only be broadcast past 10 p.m. And the lyrics, "I got you under my skin," were changed to "I got you under my sky." But the song already had the backing of TVXQ fans and fans loyal to SM Entertainment. Now, it was in the general public's eye by being in the news. Spotify wasn't available internationally yet. Discovering music in 2008 meant hours of trolling through music blogs, MySpace, music magazines, music shows on TV, or by taking a bet on a CD with a cool album cover. Mirotic's controversy had definitely introduced TVXQ to many future fans, in my opinion. It ensured their long-term success. Mirotic would go on to sell millions of copies. It's TVXQ's biggest song on Spotify as well, so it would also be the beginning of a crisis for TVXQ as 5. 3 members, Jaejung, Yutun, and Junsu, left due to contract issues. This is a huge blow. Jaejung was the face of TVXQ. He was front and center for several of the covers, and Junsu being one of the strongest vocalists in TVXQ. 2 members, Yoonho and Maknae Chungmin, remained. Any other group would have disbanded. The publicity generated from this controversy, it definitely created buzz around them though, but I'm surprised they continued. I thought they'd at least change the name or everyone would pursue solo activities. That being said, SM Entertainment, I'm really not surprised that they wanted to keep TVXQ alive. They're blowing up at the time. They put lots of resources into the group. It's been successful. Keep the train rolling. Keep the party going. Keep your head down. This was the song TVXQ had to come out with. It's a strong, big track, huge vocal runs. It's a statement to show that Max and Yuno are just fine as 2. Heavily distorted guitars, orchestral instruments, kind of recalling Triangle a bit. The song's fairly minimal, like Mirotic was, but slower paced. I really like the space this gives for the vocal to shine. I don't like the grandiose cheesy horns though, and the weird electronic kick, very wonky, grating. It's really not a nice kick sound. The track to me sounds the most like what SM were trying to do with EXO a couple years later. The second release straight after this was Before You Go, and TVXQ slowed things down on this one. They recalled Usher, Justin Timberlake, Trey Songz, Boyz II Men, full R&B. Those 90s gospel harmonies are rich. I love the tasteful compression on the beat, although I would argue this track overall is a touch too compressed. The vocal though, top 5 best performances in K-pop. Stunning. Extended vocal runs, an incredible high note at the back end, lots of space in the mix, only hindered by the compression. It's a personal favourite of mine. Definitely check it out Before You Go. In 2012, TVXQ released Catch Me. It's a European EDM influence on this one, trance notes, a dubstep bridge. Really dates it, but I kind of love how distorted and strange the beat switch is in this moment, where the kick sounds like it's following the rap vocal. It's nice and loud. The performance, once again, incredible. Soaring, grandiose. The track is 100 miles a minute. I think I would have preferred more dynamics, but still very solid tune. Also in 2012, in July 2012, Psy's Gangnam Style was released, and we all know it was a global phenomenon. Now millions of Western people were aware of K-pop, and the internet had advanced since TVXQ's debut in 2003. Finding out about K-pop, it was easier, faster. There was Tumblr, there were other blogs talking about K-pop, Spotify playlists, K-pop news sites in English, fan translations, videos on YouTube. It meant there was this sea of information available for anyone that wanted to get into K-pop. A few months after Gangnam Style, Catch Me was released in September. To me, Catch Me is the first track by TVXQ that a lot of Western people noticed. I remember seeing Catch Me's music video on an Asian pop show that would air on TV on weekend mornings in Australia. Safe to say it was #1 on the Gaon charts in Korea, and it won on live music show Inkigayo. A couple years later, January 2014, TVXQ turned 10, they released an album, Tense. The lead single is Something. It really caught me by surprise. It's a jazzy cabaret influenced show tune, like Amy Winehouse, which could not be further from the sound of their last release, Catch Me. SM is savvy, and they know to highlight Changmin and Yuno's vocal. I love how natural everything sounds, with swing and easing on the compression to deliver dynamics. I also love the warmth of the mix. Some of those horns in the chorus, they're playing pretty high, but it never feels too sharp. Ditto the vocals, not harsh at all, beautiful sounding. This song was huge, but also a little bit swallowed by the massive K-pop that was coming through post-Gangnam Style. At this point, many smaller music entertainment companies were established riding the hype, such as Jellyfish, Starship, Stardom, among many others. And with them, many groups. On top of already the big three companies, JYP, YG, and SM, always releasing music from their roster. 2003, at TVXQ's debut, there were around 30 K-pop debuts. In 2014, there were over 40 groups and over 20 individuals that debuted in K-pop that year. Very saturated space at this point. From 10s onwards, TVXQ went a little quiet, partly due to the military enlistment, but also due to generational shifts and a changing of the guard as SM groups such as EXO and SHINee became hugely successful. Few years pass, and then in 2018, they come back with The Chance of Love. It's mid. The mix doesn't highlight the vocal, rather the funk-influenced bass and guitar are highlighted. Both these instruments sound pretty, but the mix overall is high-mid heavy. Doesn't have that warmth like in Something. And from this release onwards, TVXQ begin to fade away. EXO move into legend status, NCT rise up as the hot new thing. Zooming out, K-pop remains global, dedicated fan base, ever since Gangnam Style, and a little group called BTS become sensations, along with YG group Blackpink. Their stories are for another video. TVXQ make occasional Korean variety appearances, and they do maintain a presence in Japan at this time. One pandemic and a half later, and here we are, 2024. I don't think the pandemic affected TVXQ's relevance, really, but time may have. Mirotic is now over 15 years old, and the members are quickly approaching 40. Among the younger generation of K-pop fans, they are not discussed too often. But here's why I think time is TVXQ's most powerful weapon. The stress of the pandemic grew demand for a big but often subtle part of our culture, nostalgia. As people found comfort in older shows, music, and movies on a mass scale, studios capitalized by releasing reboots, sequels, and in the K-pop world, anniversary comebacks. Kara would make a comeback for their 15th anniversary. Infinite and U-Kiss also both had anniversary releases. And on December 26, 2023, Hug turned 20. TVXQ released 20 and 2 December 26, 2023, 20 years since their debut performance of Hug. Charted number 3 on Gaon charts, and as of writing, the lead single Rebel sits on just over 900,000 plays. It's a dark dance track with a beat reminiscent of Kanye West's Black Skinhead that I loved, but it's marred by a Carol of the Bells interpolation that it's performed well, but it didn't sound nice to me. I didn't like it at all. Although falling short compared to all their number 1 releases, I think number 3 for a 20-year-old K-pop group, it cements them as legends of the genre. I love how modern Rebel sounds. Rather than riding the nostalgia hype or doing a Mirotic 2.0, TVXQ made something dark, dancey, unique in their discography. All SM artists did shape something known as the SMP or SM sound. It's generally speaking a blending of many genres with an R&B underpinning to glue the track together, not always effectively. At least in TVXQ's 5-member era from 2003 to 2008, they had little influence on other K-pop groups at other entertainment companies. But from Mirotic onwards and the rise of the Hallyu wave, which is when K-pop saw great success in other countries in Asia and eventually Western countries, we see TVXQ's influence in other boy bands. TVXQ visually had a strong, muscly, dominant look for Mirotic, wearing dark suits with nothing underneath to show their muscular physiques. And it influenced 2PM's heartbeat concept and groups such as Infinite, Batoost, or Beast, and Black. The latter even debuted with the same number of members. Musically, these and many other groups had similar arrangements of R&B harmonies, strings, rock elements. To be clear, I think these groups brought this sound into their own. They weren't ripping off TVXQ, just influenced by them. But these groups couldn't match TVXQ's vocals. They're some of the strongest ever recorded in K-pop. TVXQ's body of work still holds up because their vocals are that strong. And SM was smart enough to produce songs that played to this strength, soaring choruses, long high notes after the bridge. Putting aside the resources and influence of SM Entertainment, TVXQ's vocals, combined with attractive visuals and energetic performances, make them the undisputed kings of K-pop. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Sean at Sepator Prod. Buy me a coffee, link in description. Like, subscribe. Till next time.